this has been a year of so much coming up for me. Like yesterday, I was on the floor in my kitchen, just sobbing and wailing and just like getting out feelings that are time to get out, right? And I think I haven't been in a space in a long time where I've been able to slow down enough and then feel safe enough to express, and then to have relationships in my life of people that I've met where I can express those things safely and have it be okay to not feel okay, and have it be, beautiful that I want to, express and cry and feel. It doesn't have to be joyful and positive and happy and amazing all the time. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm not going to choose gratitude or choose, choose the next good, most empowering, thought. There are going to be moments where things are messy. And so that's the long answer to that question is I'm proud of this move over the last year and of the community I've created within myself, like to me, from me, and then also the community that I've built or connected with since being here. And it matters to me because I finally feel like I'm in a safe enough spot to feel and process and navigate and just feel deeply, right? Like I can feel such joy and such bliss and such inspiration and love. And I can also feel like deep sorrow, sadness, despair. And it's like sometimes there's not even anything, I don't know, particularly bad that's happening. It's just like the flow of that feminine energy. It's like sometimes things come up and I'm like, I just need to like cry and scream, and I can do that. And I have the space to do that. And so that's the answer to that question for me. What other questions here? What is one belief I'm ready to let go of as I step into this new chapter? And what empowering belief can I replace it? By the way, I didn't prepare any answers to any of these questions. So as I'm reading them, I kind of copied and pasted some. I'm like thinking of it as we go. One belief I'm ready to let go of and let go of as I step into this chapter, and what empowering belief can replace it. I think the belief is like, the belief is about like, I think in a lot of areas of my life, I do a really good job of not waiting for the experience on the outside to dictate how I'm feeling on the inside, right? Like feeling gratitude ahead of the experience, feeling love and joy and peace, even when things don't feel that way. Like I definitely have a beautiful belief that I love, that we can't wait for things outside of us to change in order for things on the inside of us to change. Now, I think the belief that I'm ready to let go of is it's okay to have multiple days of not feeling amazing. I think I'm used to like having a couple days of just feeling like sad or down or maybe frustrated or just moving through some things I need to feel, right? And I think the belief is like I can still be the Lunden I want to be with all of the feels. And sometimes the feels that are not so pleasant can be present longer, and that's okay. So I'm trying to figure out how to word this in a way that answers the question. Not that I need to. This is my podcast. I can do it however the fuck I want to do it. But what is one belief I'm ready to let go of is like, you have to feel good most of the time in order to like keep it moving, you know? And it's just wild because I felt so much over the last year, like sad, anger, rage, frustration, happiness, love, sorrow, um, just all the feels. And it's okay. It's okay to feel all the feels. Nothing has to be wrong. Like if you feel sad or upset or frustrated, like nothing has to have happened. It could just be that like sadness or anger and frustration feel safe enough now to like start to come up. And so yeah, that's a belief I want to bring into my like all emotions are beautiful. All of them have a place and have a purpose. You can, and maybe this is kind of the belief is like, especially like over the last few months, I have been feeling a lot of these things. And then I'm like, how, and messing up royally in a lot of ways with communication and feelings and understanding my feelings and just being like super fucking messy. And I think the belief I had is like, you can't be messy and be a coach and have a podcast. Like if you're messy, you can't share that mess, And I don't think I've ever said it that way. But as I'm talking myself through it, that's what it really feels like is like you can be messy and that's the new belief I want to bring into my next year is like you can be messy and have a really good and loving relationship. You can be messy and be very successful in business. You can be messy and have a podcast and be a coach and help others. Like I can be messy and I can help others. And I think the programming of just always trying to look a certain way. And, my grandparents were visiting with my mom a few weekends ago. And my grandpa is like very nitpicky to my grandma. And he was like having her pick up a crumb of food that was like on the table. And me and my mom were just like, Grandpa, give it a rest. Like, and he's like, well, what if it falls on her shirt? And we were like, okay, it's her shirt. And who cares if the food falls on her shirt? He's like, well, what will other people think if they see that mark on her shirt? And in that moment, I looked over at my mom and I was like, that sentence is like embedded in the genetic makeup. Like that is so much. And it just kind of, and I'm like, it was a sentence and a moment and a snapshot that allowed me to realize like, oh yeah, like you can be messy. You can have a stain on your shirt and it's all good. But if the programming is you have to look a certain way and be a certain way or else what will other people think? That's a pretty deep root to uproot, honey. And that's a lot of what I've been working through is like the fear of what others might think, even though I didn't realize that was it. But, you do a lot of this inner work and you meditate and you do NLP and you experiment with just possibility and these things start coming up and you're like, oh, yeah, maybe there is a part of me that's afraid to share the mess. And then there I was sitting across from my grandma and grandpa, literally like a mess on the table that was going to hypothetically show up on her shirt that somebody that hasn't even seen it yet is going to judge her on. It's just wild. Like I love the unpacking of ancestral stuff. And so that's the belief is like, I can be messy and that's what I'm bringing with me. That's what I'm bringing with me.